Hey guys. All right, so it's been a while since I did a video. I am gonna do a snake in 1 point perspective. And this is a little bit from imagination. I didn't plan it out too much. I just made a sketch because I want it to show the perspective by coming up, forward, and down, and all the rest. So you guys have seen me set up perspective in some other videos from my other how to draw articles, so I don't want to get too much into that. But basically we're going to do this freehand and not super tight, so that you guys can see that if you want it precise, you use a ruler, but for today I'm not going to do it that way. So got my one vanishing point for a 1 point perspective. Right. And basically, as long as you have this set up, you've got your horizon line here and the vanishing point here. All we really have to make sure that we do is make sure that our subject or our object follows the perspective. So for 1 point perspective, all your lines need to recede to the vanishing point or come out from the vanishing point, and all of your verticals need to go straight up and down. After that, you don't really have to draw boxes. Gets a little bit more complex in 2 point, but for now, so for the snake, we know, okay, this, and I'm doing it in pen because it's easier for you guys to see than the pencil. So the snake gets really thin, its tail gets kind of thin at the back, and then it starts to thicken up. So I'm just gonna do it. It's gonna be messy because it's supposed to be messy at first. And then so he's just gonna have a really thin part, and then it's just and then he's gonna get a little thicker. Right? Let's see. And he's turning. If I was doing a whole scene, the idea I had is that he's, dropping down from some sort of a ledge or a tree or something like that. And then they taper back around the neck area. So, there it is. So I've been basically gone forward, down, across, up, across, down, across, and then I went back, up, and forward, and then the head is going to be right here. It's a little confusing, but I was trying to make it interesting at the same time. So, all right, so this is the main body. He's going to start to taper out around here. So let's see. So say this is the box where his head's going to live. So I do have to go back to this vanishing point here. And don't worry, I'll go over this in like a different colored pen or colored pencil or something so it's easier to see after. And then this box corner, I'm just gonna ghost it in. Okay, so there's our box for perspective. So his head, let's see, I'm gonna find the center of this box, which is roughly here. So I want I'm gonna make a simple shape for the head. So we're just gonna do like this shape here, right? So I'm gonna put sort of the center of his head. It's gonna be a little off center. I want it to come down this way. So let's see. I put his head here. It's totally fine to sketch it, be messy, try to figure out how it's gonna live in here, right? Confuse myself again. Okay. Up. Oh, here we go. So this is where so we want him to go kind of like this. in this box, I think. So yeah. All right, so then the rest of the body. And he's gonna kind of squeeze in on himself here. It's messy, isn't it? So messy. That's okay. He's not a building, so these lines don't need to be exact or anything. He's an organic creature. Or she, you know, whatever. He's kind of curling in on himself. Which looks super weird, but I don't know. It's one part perspective, so it's just gonna be probably simple. Okay, let's see. So now I'll have to give this head shape some mass. So within this square here, I'm just gonna mass this in. So he actually needs to there we go. So it's right. That's the front. This will be the bottom. Okay, so this is like that bottom plane of the head. And then this would be the top. So we're going to say that his head is like this, and we'll put, I'm not going to give him kind of big eyes. Right. I don't know if everybody likes this, but I don't like to show you guys like, oh, here's, oops, I did that to the wrong one. I don't want to show you guys like, oh, here's my pristine drawing. Look how awesome I draw. And then not actually teach you anything. So that's why this is messy, because that is the process. It starts off messy. It starts off with shapes and lines and mess and thinking on paper. That's what sketching is, thinking on paper. So if it doesn't look pretty, that's okay. It will look better later. But you'll get the idea of how to do it. All right, so I'm gonna give them simple mouth. It's probably a little anthropomorphized. Anthropomorphized. Snakes tend to have this like sack kind of shape on the side because that's how their jaws seem to open. I am not a snake expert. This is what I've observed from my study and exploration part. So this is basically where the mouth would open. And let's see, I'm gonna do his eyes. His eyes are actually gonna be like up like this. And then there's this ridge. A little smaller. And then this would be a line with scales in it. Right? And I was going to try to copy that over here. So Okay, so then this is going to come this way. That's roughly the same size. And give him that. Okay, and so these forms are turning. You know, I was going like this. So actually, I might even make that the direction of the scales, just so that we can see. And I'm not going to get super detailed with this because that's not going to be fun for you guys to watch, and it would take quite a while, but this shows the shape, the form, the way it turns. Okay, so you see the perspective. So here would be the neck, right? So this is the connection. The head connects to the rest of the body, which I don't know if you call that a neck on a snake. But so this needs to come back this way. You're not really going to see that. Snakes bunch up on themselves pretty. All right, so that's how that line would go. So this would be the bottom, and this whole side. So it's a cylinder, right? So you can see the cylinder bit. So what you might notice is that once you get the general grasp, I guess, of the perspective of what direction everything goes, after that it just kind of becomes secondary to the forms and the form direction of the thing that you're drawing. So I haven't really paid a lot of attention to the snake itself in perspective, or I should say not the snake itself, the perspective itself, because I've had to work on the snake. And I know that the snake is in perspective because I constructed it in the box that I set up in the perspective that I wanted. So after that, it really still is about shapes and forms. This, when you stick to the perspective, just because our horizontals have to follow the horizon line, that doesn't mean they have to be, straight. So this can curve because a snake is gonna do more of this than that. And then you get that form turn and that pinch and squish, right? And then so that gives you an idea. Okay, so snakes can get pretty straight up and down if they want, but they're generally pretty curled up and tangled up. You see some of those examples in my references. So now I'm gonna go ahead and change the color of this so that you guys can actually see this a little bit better. So I'll just do red, and that should help it stick out. So just like when you make a messy sketch in pencil, you can do the same thing in pen or whatever medium you're most comfortable with. Like I said, I chose pen because I've done it before in pencil, and when I watched the video, it seemed like really hard to see unless I went over it to make it darker for you guys, and that didn't seem terribly interesting. So then you can start to get it to look a little bit more natural, even in the perspective. And as you start following the planes, this would be the kind of the snake. So this is under him and it's going like this. You just can't see it under him here. But so this would basically be his belly, right? And the belly, has like a little bit of a different scale pattern, right? I'm not going to go through and give him all the patterning because that's going to take a while, and it's not the perspective bit that I'm trying to show you guys. So we'll just put these in to show you. So he's looking pretty gnarly. I guess I should give him some nostrils. Let's see, we'll put them right here. Ooh, there we go. Alright. Now this like ridge structure for these forms, it doesn't have to be something that you make explicit. It's just how the form turns, which becomes more clear and obvious when you light it and you start doing your contours and adding color. And then you can give him a tongue. So that's one way, or one example of drawing a snake in perspective. He's just, a basic wedgy shape. They tend to be wedges or cylinder or like spade wedge shapes in the head, and then the rest of the body is long cylinder in perspective. Easy peasy, right? Thanks, guys.